Perspective Podcast is fuel for your mind and creative grind. Each week, we break down the art of healthy hustling, overcoming the inner critic, and growing your creative business.
So I think niching is so important. I think it's the main reason really why I grew on Instagram. And it's been really helpful for me as an artist to find my voice and my style, to be honest. I think one thing to point out about niching that's really important is that you can't niche if you don't have a subject matter or something that you're super passionate about. And it can't be like whatever people are talking about at the time or whatever is trending or whatever is in or what you think you should do. It really has to come from the heart. And I think that will depend on sort of where you are in your life. But I'm pretty sure that at any point in your life, you can find something that really sort of feels incredible and feels like this is something I want to talk about, not just feel strongly about, but I also want to share with the world. So for me, at the time when I started the Cosmic Feminist, my handle on Instagram was just Zulfa. It had a bunch of underscores in it and stuff like that. It was just all over the place. I had an underscore before the name and then after it was just whatever. It was a mess.
Hard to find.
Yeah, and hard to say and all of that. So anyway, so at the time I felt like I didn't have much to lose. I had a smaller audience. I wasn't feeling like I was getting traction, but I knew I had something to say. And so at the time I was just lucky enough that I had a passion and I knew what that passion was. I've always sort of thought of myself as a feminist. That's sort of a building block of my personality, but spirituality is recent for me. I think in the last 2 or 3 years, it's been a really prominent part of my life. And to be honest, a really important part of my empowerment. So I felt really strongly about it. And I'm lucky enough to have had that at the time. Because as I mentioned, it's kind of hard to niche if you don't have a topic that you're really passionate about. And so I was just thinking about it and I was like, in my head, I was like, it's like cosmic feminism. And that sentence made so much sense to me. I was 100% sure it was a thing. It was already taken. So I looked up the URL, it wasn't taken, looked up the Instagram name. Some people had mentioned it, like had said something about it. But the Instagram name wasn't taken. So I became the Cosmic Feminist. So when I talk about niching, I say that the first important section is also obviously figuring out your voice and what you want to say. But then the next important part for me was actually like solidifying it into a name that I picked for my brand. And that's sort of like betting on yourself. That's not like being like, I'm kind of going to niche, but I'm not going to go all the way because I'm kind of scared. That's going all in and being like, I'm going to change my name. And that's fucking scary. It was so scary for me at the time. I was like, I don't want to change my name. Like people aren't going to find me anymore. What about my old posts? But it's funny you mentioned Tom Ross because I was part of his coaching group at the time. And I've gotten tons of messages from him saying, please change your name even before the cosmic thing happened. Because he was saying like, your name doesn't mean anything. And that's something I realized later on is a lot of artists, we like to put our name as our brand, but your name means nothing to anyone. It's just meaningful to you. And that's how I felt at the time. I was like, but it's my name. It's who I am. And so it was a big step to kind of make that change and change the name of the brand essentially, but it was also really exciting. And then the last part of it, which is, I think a lot of people have a hard time, but for me it was the easiest. It was just like picking a style, because if you already picked it like a topic, then the style is kind of going to come with it. The cosmic spacey theme kind of came with the cosmic, topic that I'm talking about. And then the last step was just being like, what are the colors that I want to work within? I wanted to give myself some sort of guidelines to work within. At the time, I think I picked like 3 or 4 colors and it was definitely scary. Like, don't get me wrong. I was like, oh my God, how am I going to commit to these colors? And guess what? I didn't 100% commit. I kept adding more colors. I remember at some point I had this like deep purple that I liked at the time, but now I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of bored with it. I'm going to use this other shade of purple. So there's so much room to sort of like have fun with it and get creative. And my advice for anyone listening is just like, trust your creativity. You're going to figure out a way to have fun with it and to do different things. You're not really going to be as constrained as you think you are. You're a person. You're going to always be growing. You're always going to have new experiences. So there's always going to be something else to add to the brand that you created. So yeah, that's essentially what happened with the Cosmic Feminist.
So one, you basically created brand identity guidelines for yourself. And two, I love how you said like niching down is scary, uncomfortable. It's not a life sentence, as like Tom and I have talked about in the past. And within it, you build these constraints. With constraints breed creativity, and with that, you can thrive within it. It's less guessing. I guess that's like the confidence I found as I continue to set like more guidelines and parameters for color schemes or cohesiveness or my brand message, so I can continue to show up for that awareness. Thanks again for listening. It'd be awesome if you took the time to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and let the comment below so we can connect. Again, if you want to catch a shout out as a future listener of the week, make sure you subscribe to the show on iTunes and give it a rating and review.